Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wanted to learn how to play Kings of War, the massed battle fantasy game from Mantic? Of course you have, so now's your opportunity. As you know, I'm Andy, joined here by Mr. Nick of the Kings of War rules team. Hello there.
Hi guys, and gals.
So we're going to guide the audience through the perilous journey of learning the rules to possibly a brand new, for them, game system. And this is something you've done quite extensively, giving people demos, so there should be an air of professionalism about it.
One thing about me, there's never anything professional.
There were one or two comments on Facebook questioning your teaching methods, but I think we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt for now, and I'm sure the audience will as well.
All they were saying is that I was deliberately teaching them badly so that they would lose, and I completely reject any such accusations.
Words to that effect, yes.
Yes.
Pure slander or libel.
Absolutely.
Or both. So as people can see, we're on universalbattle.com here, which is a very good demo tool, I find. For a start, you don't need to travel to be in the same room as somebody, which is very handy. And we've got two armies laid out here. We have the Undead at the top there, and we have some Goblins down at the bottom. So we're going to run you through it. It may seem like we're only showing you the basics of the game, but that is pretty much the entire game. There are obviously layers of tactical depth, but there aren't endless layers of rule complications, which is going to be quite strange for people that are familiar with other mass battle fantasy games out there. Some of those people currently feel as though they're in limbo at the moment with certain other game systems, so maybe this is the game for them. I'm not one to tell them whether it is or isn't, but maybe they won't, when they've had a look at the rules, they've learned a little bit more about it, they can make up their own mind. So, first things first, let's go through what we have in each army. What have you got in your Undead Legions up there?
Okay, so I have got, starting from the left, this here is a skeleton archer troop, a unit of 10 skeletons armed with bows. We have, next I've got a unit of 10 skeletons. The models on there are armed with spears, but we didn't actually have a model in Universal Battle not armed with spears. My unit isn't armed with spears. This little guy here, who I'm moving about very slowly, he's a standard bearer who grants certain nerve bonuses to units around him. We've got a swarm of zombies, huge tar pit of well, basically naff troops, but it'll slow people down forever, and they keep healing back up. Next up, I've got a necromancer. You can cast some spells, do a bit of funky stuff, but is not very good in combat. And then I've got some ghouls here on the right-hand flank, who are good flankers, but equally they're still a bit naff, because undead's generally a bit naff.
Yes, although a lot of people will say that Mantic's Undead range is actually their finest models that they've ever done.
I wasn't talking models, I was talking
Yes,
units.
I am talking about their models. I'm sure in the rules a zombie is not going to measure up to much, but in model terms they are the finest zombies on the market, I would say.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now, for the goblins here, we have trolls, a troll troop, if you will, which is 3 of them. Then we have a mincer, which is quite a terrifying little war machine. Spitters, which are pretty much just goblins with bows. A whiz on a flea bag, which sounds quite disturbing, but it is just a caster riding on a flea bag. Then we have Sharp Sticks Regiment, which are goblin spearmen. Then Fleabag Riders Troop, which is 5 models with their little spears there. So, how shall we get this bad boy kicked off?
Should we just launch straight into it?
Yes, let's do it. So
we're going to skip the deployment. We're going to skip deployment because that's a bit boring, and yeah, let's just move straight on to starting the first turn. So we roll off for first turn. I rolled a 6, and I'm actually going to let you take first turn.
Are you now?
Yes.
Now, one thing people want to know is that there is pre-measuring in this game, isn't there?
Yep, you can measure any distance at any time.
And also, there isn't any random movement, is there?
No.
Right then. So I'm just going to consult my army list here and check the movement rate for some of my units. So where would I be looking on my stat line to see how far they can go?
So you have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stats altogether. The first one is SP, or speed, and that is how far you can move with a normal move in inches. So basic infantry is generally speed 5, heavy cavalry will be speed 8, and then light cavalry is generally speed 9 or 10.
Right then, so I think I'm going to start edging my troops forward a little bit.
Okay, so with basic movement, the basic types are to stand still, and you can pivot on the spot to face any direction. You can move forward up to your speed in inches, and at any point during that move, you can make a single pivot of up to 90 degrees, and that's a pivot around your centre point. There's no wheeling in this game. You can move at the double, which lets you move twice your speed, but directly forward. And then there's charging, which is a bit more complicated. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
So here we go. I'm just going to move him straight forward at the double, 10 inches for my sharp sticks units. I want them to get right in there.
Yep.
I think I'm not going to move these guys quite at their full. I'm just going to bring them just about in line up there. And the trolls, let me just consult the chart. They have a speed of 6. So I'm pretty sure all your stuff is really, really slow, so I don't need to worry about getting too close. So I'm just going to move them at the double all the way up there. I want to get them right in the thick of things really fast. Now, the Mincer, the War Machine, has a speed of 5. Now, can War Machines like this move at the double?
Yes. Oh, is it War Machine, or is it a monster?
Let me check. It's actually classified as a
I believe
monster.
it's a monster.
Right then.
Yes, a monster can move at the double. War Machines can't.
Right then.
The War Machines are things like artillery batteries.
Okay, so up it goes. Now, these spitters here. Now, what kind of range am I looking at on these guys with their little bows?
They have a 24-inch range. Now, you can move and shoot.
Will that make me any less accurate?
I think for the sake of this demo purposes, we're going to leave off modifiers to shooting. We're kind of playing a little bit of a hybrid between first and second edition, because second edition is still in development, and the shooting modifiers haven't been finalised yet. So, for the sake of this demo, we're not going to have any modifiers to shooting, but in first edition you would get a -1 modifier to shooting if you moved.
Right. So I'm going to send them up. And then I think I'm going to shoot. I think I'm going to start peppering away at that gigantic zombie unit there.
Yet?
I haven't moved my whiz. Let's see, where do I want to put him? I don't want to get him too much in harm's way. He does have a zap power, doesn't he?
Yes, that's got a 24-inch range. Now, the other thing is that he's inspiring, so he can affect units within 6 inches. If they rout, if they flee the battlefield, if he's within 6 inches, then I have to re-roll the dice which cause that rout. So it's a very useful ability.
I think I'm going to bring him up to around about there. Not too far forward. I don't want him getting killed. So, time for some shooting then.
Yes. So when you're shooting, you first look at the attack stat, which for your sharp sticks is attacks 10. That's how many dice you roll, and that's in combat or with shooting. And the dice you need to, the score that you need to hit is the range stat, or RA, which for the spitters is 5+.
Yes, it is. So, 10 dice into the zombies, 5+.
And 5+. So 2 hits.
Yes.
Now my zombies have a defense of 3+, so you roll to wound now, and you need 3+ to wound. So 2 wounds. Oh, I need to
So
change to damage
now,
markers. 2
even
seconds.
just that should give people a taste of how simple the game is, because
Yeah.
you're not cross-referencing two different stats. All you're doing is saying, okay, here's what I need to hit you. Now, what is your defense stat? Okay, that's what I need to roll to hurt you.
Yeah.
Very,
You
very
don't need
easy.
to count up how many models can see or how many models are touching the enemy unit. If your unit has 10 attacks, that's how many attacks it gets, regardless.
Right. So normally
Go
it
on
would
with
be quicker in real life setting this up on a table, because you could just put a dice behind them with the number 2 or anything, really, couldn't you? It's
Yeah.
one thing that
Perhaps I should
Universal
explain
Battle
this.
isn't as quick at. So yeah, if you want to explain
Yeah.
what that represents.
Yep. So in some other fantasy games that players might be familiar with, if your unit takes damage, then you remove models. So in other games, if this unit had taken 2 damage, it would remove 2 models from the unit. In Kings of War, that doesn't happen. Your unit stays there. Every model stays there. You don't remove the individual models. You just record the number of damage against the unit.
Right then. So they've currently taken 2.
They got taken 2.
So
Now your Wiz has got some shooting as well.
yes, my Wiz is going to use his zap power on them as well, I think.
Okay.
So he has zap 3.
Yes. So this is a spell. It's 3 dice because he's got zap 3. If you had zap 5, it'd roll 5 dice. And zap always hits on 4+.
So it's hit twice.
Hits. Now zap, unlike the bows, has got piercing 1 special roll, which means that it gets a +1 when it's rolling to wound with shooting attacks. So rather than wounding on the 3+, he's wounding on 2+.
And I've scored 1.
Scored 1. So that's on 3 damage altogether.
So now the fun part, figuring out whether that's enough to actually annihilate them.
It is not going to be.
In this instance, no.
In this instance, no. At the end of the shooting phase, when everything has shot, you then move on to nerve tests. Now, if you've ever played Warhammer, this is very similar to leadership checks. What Andy now needs to do is for every unit that he's caught a point of damage on in this turn, he rolls 2 dice and adds the total number of damage on that unit. So for those zombies, he'd roll 2 dice and add 3. Now the nerve stat is the stat that he wants to beat. Those zombies have a nerve of 22. So even if Andy rolls a double 6 to give him 12 on his dice roll plus the 3 for a total of 15, he cannot beat those zombies. Their nerve test of 22.
Yeah, so you don't auto succeed even if you get a double 6.
Correct.
But if you get a double 1, what happens then?
If you get a double 1, regardless of how much damage is on the unit and what their nerve value is, a double 1 will always fail.
Yeah, even if they're just basically pairs of legs at that point.
Yes.
They'll still be able to carry on fighting on a double 1.
Absolutely.
So that's my shooting dealt with. So I believe it's over to you then.
It is. There's no combats at the moment, so it's straight onto my turn. Yes. I'm just going to shuffle forwards very slowly. Now, a lot of undead units have a special rule called shambling, which means that they can't move out the doubles. They can't move at twice their normal speed. They can just move at their normal speed. So these skeletons are going to go straight forward at their speed of 5 inches to there.
Presenting a juicy target for me.
Yes. Almost like I planned that.
Almost, but we know that's not the case.
Zombies are going to shuffle forward slightly, not quite as far. And in fact, they'll turn afterwards. So, with Kings of War, when you turn a unit, it pivots around its centre point. And when you do a normal move, you can do a single pivot of up to 90 degrees. My Necromancer is going to stay where he is, and I'm just going to move my Standard Bearer up to there. Right, I've not got any combats, so I'm going to do a bit of shooting. My skeletons on the left are going to shoot at your trolls.
Oh dear.
Like your spitters, they've got 10 attacks and a range stat of 5+, so they're hitting on 5s.
That is a lot of 5s.
That's 6 hits.
Don't like the look of this one bit. So I would then consult my list for my trolls and see that they have a defense of 5+.
So that means I need 5s.
They also have regeneration as well, so what will that do here?
That comes into play at the start of your next turn.
Right.
So I rolled those 6 dice and I got 1 wound.
Okay then, so adding the number 1 to that unit.
Okay, my Necromancer also has Zap. Ooh, should he Zap or should he heal? He's got... In fact, no, I'm going to heal, I'm not going to Zap. Because you can only cast 1 spell a turn. He also has Heal. He's going to cast it on the zombies. He's got Heal 3. It's got a range of 12 inches. And it hits on a 4+. So no hits. For every 4+ that I would have rolled, if I could have rolled a 4+, would have healed a point of damage off the zombies.
That sounds pretty tasty.
It is, but it completely missed. So that was a waste of time. I finished my shooting, so now it's nerve checks. I just have a nerve check against your trolls.
Yes, my troll's nerve of a troop is 11/13.
Yes. So if a unit has 2 nerve values, which admittedly most units do, if you equal or beat the first nerve value, then the unit is wavered, and they essentially have to miss the next turn. Whereas if you equal or beat the second nerve value, then the unit is destroyed. So I'll roll me 2 dice for the nerve test. So I got a total of 4, plus the 1 point of damage that's on them takes it to 5, which isn't enough to waver or rout them.
You can see though that small units like this are very vulnerable, even if they just take tiny amounts of damage. A lucky roll and they could be off.
Absolutely, yes.
So
that's my shooting done. I have no combats, so it's over to you.
Right then, I think it's time to get stuck in now. So first things first, I think the trolls are going to just squidge straight into those skeletons there. So up they go. And the mincer is going to do exactly the same.
Let's discuss some charging rules, shall we?
Yeah, go on.
So the rules for charging, I will just need an extra tool here to demonstrate this. So the rules for charging is that if you want to charge a unit, you have to be able to see it. So those trolls could see the skeletons, no problem. You check from the centre of the front of the unit to see what they can see. It then has to be within the front arc of a unit. So can you just put the trolls back a second? I'll demonstrate where the front arc is. Okay. So that edge there shows where the front arc of their unit is. So the arcs extend out 45 degrees from the corners. And any unit that you charge has to be at least partially within the front arc of the unit. And in terms of distance that you travel, you measure from the centre of your unit to the nearest point of the enemy unit. If it's within twice your speed, then you're within charging distance. Now, it doesn't matter how far you actually move when you charge, just as long as you start within twice your speed. And when you make a charge move, you move directly forwards, and you can make up to 2 pivots while you move.
Right. So in they go. Now there's nothing against charging multiple units into one unit, is there?
Nope.
So
Just when
in
they
they
crunch,
go.
they move as close to the centre as they can. Yeah.
It's that the first unit that goes in that has to do that, or the combined mass? So something like that is fine, yeah?
Yeah. It's not a huge thing.
Okay then. Then over here. Do I want to do any charging over here? Because they are within 10 inches, so they could do it. And they are...
No, it's measured from the centre. It's
the distance from the centre.
not quite.
Oh, no then.
Distance from...
No, they're not quite in.
Yeah.
So in that case, I think I'm just going to turn them on the spot a little bit, like so. And they're just going to kind of lie in waiting there. And these guys are going to do... just going to move up a little bit as well. Playing the waiting game on your troops over on that side. And now then, back to shooting then, isn't it?
Yes.
So I'm going to shoot my spitters.
I'll tell you what we've forgotten to do, your regeneration. Forgot to do your regeneration. I know, it's terrible. So if a unit has got regeneration, when it carries out a move or an order of any type, then you roll 3 dice, and for every 4+, you heal a point of damage back. So you've healed that point of damage back.
They're just extra healthy now. So, shooting. I think everyone's going to shoot at the zombies again.
Oh, you don't have to.
Yeah, I do. I do
No,
really
you don't.
want to.
No, you don't.
Spitters Regiment. Now, we determined last time that they had 10 attacks.
Yep.
And 4 hits this time.
4 hits, hitting on 5s, and wounding on 3s.
So only
2.
2. Slowly chipping away at them.
Slowly. A bit worried, actually.
And then the Wiz is going to do exactly the same as he did last time. He's going to try and zap the zombies. So it was 3 dice, and it hits on 4. So only
so 1 hit.
And then wounding on 2, which is a 1, so nothing.
Yay!
So at this point,
cool. That's good.
I'm still not in a position to rout the zombies, am I?
No, because you would need to roll 22 in total.
Yeah, so no point even rolling. So let's scoot on over to this combat here, because this is going to be quite tasty, I think.
I don't think it is.
I'm pretty sure it is. So the trolls. The troll troop
Yes.
has an attack of 9.
Yep, so it rolls 9 dice. And it has a melee stat of 4+, meaning that it hits in melee on 4+.
Ooh, that's
so again,
a lot.
unlike other games, you don't need to check how many models are in contact, how many of the enemy models are touched. You just, if your unit has 9 attacks, that's how many attacks you get regardless.
It does speed things up considerably.
Yes.
So 8 hits done.
Ooh, that was very nice.
It was.
I have a defense of 4+ on those skeletons.
You do, but yes, I've noticed that my trolls have crushing strength 2.
Yes, and crushing strength works like piercing, except in combat. So crushing strength 2 gives you a +2 modifier when you're rolling to wound. So instead of wounding on 4+ against those skeletons, you're wounding on 2+. Oh dear.
So 7 wounds applied to the skeletons.
That did not go the way I hoped it.
Now, when a unit is finished attacking, what does it do then? Because it doesn't just stay in contact, does it?
Well, we resolve all the combat first. The mincer is in the same combat, so that has to roll as well.
Okie doke. So if I just scroll down there, I'll see that he has 3d6 attacks, because it's just a cobbled together machine, basically. So it's going to have 8 attacks. And then if I check his melee stat, it's 4+, yep.
Yeah.
So 4 hits.
4 hits, okay. I've got defense 4, and you've got crushing strength 1.
Yes,
That's
I do.
3s.
Oh,
What?
that was bad. So only 1 more wound applied from the mincer.
It's there on 8
It didn't
altogether.
so much mince the skeletons as it kind of minced its way up the field.
Yeah, it didn't do much. Ha 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 ha. That's okay. I hope.
Then. So now what do we do?
At the end of each combat, rather than at the end of the turn, at the end of each combat you roll the nerve checks. So it's the same as in shooting. You roll 2d6 plus the amount of damage that you've taken. Now skeletons have a nerve value of 16.
Ooh, well, I've only scored 14.
So that's not enough to do anything, unfortunately. Well, unfortunately for you.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet.
So
at the end of combat, your units that charged bounce off 1 inch. So I just shuffled backwards to separate them.
Different to other games where you don't attack back in my turn.
Correct. It's only you who attacks in your turn.
Yeah, it puts it on, gives it more of a balance with shooting, I feel.
Yes.
Makes sense, really. So.
Also means often the game comes around to wiping out your opponent's unit before he gets to strike. So it makes it very tactical.
So we're over to your turn again.
You know that. Yes.
Do you want to give us any tactical mastery here? Showing your skills?
I think I'm about to, well, if this works, prove why the Dark Surge spell is the best one in the game.
Uh-oh.
So, first off, the skeletons are going to charge the trolls. It's in their front arc. It's, yeah, easy charge there. Next, I'm going to pivot these zombies around 90 degrees, like so. And then I'm going to move them forward 5 inches. Now, they have to stop before they hit an enemy unit. You cannot move into combat, you have to charge into combat. And because that mincer didn't start out in my front arc, I can't charge it. So, that's fine though. I have a plan for that.
I don't like the sound of this Dark Surge business.
Oh, it's fantastic, trust me. My Necromancer is going to move. In fact, he doesn't have to move much at all. No, he'll stay there. He'll stay there. He's within range for Dark Surge. And then these ghouls, I guess, are going to just pivot slightly and come forward to there. I'll just check the angle. Because again, you can check any distance, any angle, any time in the game. So I'm just checking that those Fleabag Riders are still within the ghouls' front arc, which they are. So that's fine. Now, flank charges are extremely nasty, which I hope I'm about to demonstrate.
Don't like the sound of this one bit.
So I want to avoid letting those Fleabags get on the flank of my ghouls at all costs. My skeleton archers now will be... I don't think they can see anything. So check line of sight. Yeah, they can't see past the trolls. So in order to shoot something, you have to have line of sight to it. And I can't get line of sight to anything that isn't in combat.
What a shame.
I'm going to move them forward to there. Right. No more movement, so let's go to shooting. Skeleton archers. Yep, still within front arc. Yep. Skeleton archers are going to shoot at your spitters. So it's within range, it's within 24 inches. So I get 10 attacks, hitting on 5s. 1 hit.
And my spitters have a defense of 3+.
3+, so I'm winning on 3s. No wounds. That was fantastic.
Horribly ineffective.
Yeah, extremely ineffective. Okay, Dark Surge. This is hopefully where I show off how nasty this spell is. So you see how those zombies couldn't have charged your Mincer? Because it wasn't in your front arc. It wasn't in my front arc, rather. So I wasn't able to charge them. The Necromancer has a spell called Dark Surge. He has a Dark Surge value of 8. That means that I pick a target, which I'm picking those zombies, within 12 inches, and I roll 8 dice. For every 4+, they move directly forwards 1 inch.
Now this can carry them into combat then, can it?
It can.
That's quite tasty.
Yes. That's plenty enough to get me into combat there. So they go forwards, they hit your Mincer, and because they're in the flank, they align with that flank.
Yeah, so it's the unit that's moving in that will pivot.
Yes.
In this case, yeah.
Yeah.
Right then, I'm not liking the look of this now.
I
think you're probably going to mince that Mincer.
I'm hoping so. I'm really hoping so. But anyway, combats. I'm actually going to do the skeletons first. I've got no more shooting. I didn't cause any damage, so I've got no nerve checks to carry out. So combat. Those skeletons have 10 attacks and a melee stat of 5+. They're hitting on 5s. Oh, that was quite nice. So that's 6 hits.
And the trolls have their
defense
5.
5+. Yep, so I'm wounded on 5s. No wounds.
Oh dear. Let's see if this trend can continue into the next combat. That would be a bit of a miracle.
Well, I hope not. So, the zombies have a total of, I do need to look this up, 30 attacks, normally.
But
the really good thing about flank charges, really good thing about the flank charges, is that if you flank a unit, you get double attacks.
You don't want to expose your flanks, not even with a Mincer.
No, you don't. And if you charge in the rear, you get triple attacks.
Especially not with a Mincer, in fact, because it has a kind of shield at the front, doesn't it?
Yes.
Oh dear.
A Mincer is very difficult to hit in the front. It's got a defense of 6+ to the front.
Only 4+ to the side.
Oh, 4+ to the side. I'm going to roll the 2 sets of attacks separately because it's easy to count the dice up in Universal Battle. So, 1, 2 sets of attacks.
Oh dear. Yeah, so
anyone have a melee of 5+.
Anyone who really likes rolling buckets full of dice, then it can be accomplished if you take units of this size. That's quite a lot.
Time 22 hit.
Yeah, anytime your opponent has to take their time counting up the number of hits like that, you know it's bad.
Yep. 22 hits, and you have a defense of 4+ on the side.
Yes, so it would be a bit of a miracle if you don't... Oh, that looks bad.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Yeah,
10,
I'm going to point out right now
12.
that the Mincer has a nerve of 9/11, so you're going to need to roll a double 1 to not annihilate it.
Yeah. So remember that a double 1 will always fail to rout a unit. So, nerve check on the Mincer. Scored 9.
Well,
so it is very good.
I think.
Yes. I didn't bounce my skeletons back an inch, did I? Like that.
See, cheating.
Now, what am I going to do with these zombies? After combat, you have 3 choices. You can stand on the spot and pivot to face any direction. You can move forwards d6 inches, or you can move backwards d3 inches.
Can the move take you into a combat?
It can if the unit that you routed was an individual, a model with the individual special rules. That's like reserved for your characters. That Mincer didn't have individual.
Right,
So I
so
can't in this instance.
that sounds like a good way of preventing people just parking individual models in front of huge units as a roadblock.
Yes, absolutely. Because
Right,
if you route the individual, you can still carry on.
it makes sense, really, because mowing down one person as this huge unit goes forward, it makes sense.
Absolutely. I think in this instance, I'm going to pivot like so. Oh, like so. Hang on, no, that's gone the wrong way. That's a bit better. So facing in towards your sharp sticks. I have no more combats, so it's over to you.
Right then. That wasn't too good for me. That mincer was a pivotal part of my plan. So I'm gonna have to rethink on the spot now. So what I'm thinking is, I should probably keep shooting at the zombies because they're so big. I don't want to get my units bogged down by them. So if I get this here and get it to the correct rotation, just to make sure I've got some charges here. So yeah, I'll be able to charge at those ghouls there with the sharp sticks.
Yep.
And also the fleabag riders.
Yes.
So I think I'm going to do exactly that. So they're within range.
Mm-hmm. They can see it in their front arc.
There you go. Crunch. Crunch.
So in this case, you'd move it so that the point between the two units is as close to the centre. Yeah.
There we go.
Yep.
Right then, I think the only thing the trolls can really do that makes sense is just plant themselves straight back into this fight.
Absolutely.
And these guys, they're a bit perilously close to those zombies now, aren't they? So, moving backwards, that's not going to affect their ability to do anything, is it?
They cannot shoot if they move backwards.
Ooh, does that include spells as well?
So the individual, the whiz that you've got there, he's an individual. He actually doesn't have any facing, so he can move freely in any direction.
Oh, that's right then. So he's just going to edge backwards a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to do some shooting.
Okay.
So the spitters, they're going to shoot at the zombies again.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 10 of them. Ooh, only 4 misses.
Uh-oh.
And then it was... Yep. So 5 damage points to the zombies.
Uh-oh, now you can potentially break them.
Yep, that's what I'm hoping for. And the whiz is going to do his zap on them also.
Mm-hmm.
Only got 1 hit.
Winning on 2s, though.
Which he does manage, so they're up to 11 now.
Up to 11.
Now, what was their stat that I needed to defeat here?
Then their nerve is 22.
Right.
So you need to roll 11 or 12.
It's possible. Here we go.
It's possible.
Ooh!
10. Just 1 short.
So close.
So
right.
Close.
Let's get into combat again. So the trolls are going to try and finish off these skeletons here. I'm hoping they'll be able to do that this turn.
You should just say that as the attacker, you can decide which order to do your combats in.
Right. So
you're doing your trolls first.
Yes. So they will have their 9 attacks.
Yep.
Ooh, that does not look good at all.
Well, they've already taken plenty of damage. Winning on 2s. So I've got defense 4, you've got crushing 2.
2.
So 2 more, they're on 10.
Yes, I'm in with a chance of crushing them utterly.
Yep. A chance. Possibly.
Yeah. That's the thing, when a unit's taken quite a bit of damage like that, all you have to do is just keep slowly chipping away at it, just keep making it take those tests.
Absolutely.
So, here we go.
So then nerve is 16.
I've
You've got a
scored
total of
90.
90. So that would rout them. However, they're within 6 inches of my standard bearer, who's got the inspiring special rule. And that means that if a unit is routed within 6 inches, then you have to reroll that nerve test.
So they were thinking about just crumbling to dust on the spot, and then they saw this inspiring banner with a picture of a skull or something on it, and it just possibly has made them... Let's see.
Double
No.
what? They survive.
It was so inspiring. Okay. Let's move over to the ghouls then, shall we, and see if I can crush them to bits. So we've got sharp sticks and fleabag riders here. So I will consult my stats. Now my sharp sticks have 10 attacks and a melee 5+.
They do, but they also have the phalanx special rule, which gives them an extra 5 dice in combat. So they've got they roll 15 dice in combat.
That makes sense. They've got the long pointy spears. So here we go. That's not bad. So that's
7.
Yes, 7 hits. And what is the roll I require here to hurt these ghouls?
Their defense is 3+.
Yes, they don't have any bonuses or anything, so here we go. Ooh, 6.
6 damage.
That's quite good. And the fleabag riders. Let's see.
Yep.
They have 8 attacks and a melee of 4+.
Yep.
Oh, that's
just
terrible. Only 1. And then let's see if
I've got
they have
defense
any.
of 3, you've got crushing strength of 1. So
Yeah, that's very
2s.
nice. So yeah, but a little bit more damage. Okay, so what's the nerve of these ghouls then?
It is 12-14.
Ooh, so I could quite feasibly do this then.
So it's 12 to waver them. Ooh. So you're 11 plus 7 is 18. That's a very big kablang.
Yeah, they're quite far away from the
Standard bearer, yes. They're way outside of the 6 inches. The necromancer doesn't have inspiring, but even if he did, well, actually they'd just be within, but it doesn't have inspiring. So they're gone.
Lovely. So now with that, I can prevent my flank being exposed to the zombies.
Yep.
So I'm going to spin them around on the spot. And the flea bags, I think I'm going to move them forward. And was that D6 inches?
D6 inches, yes.
So they're going to go forward 3 inches. They come in for that necromancer.
Uh-oh. I need to get
Okay then, and I just need to move the trolls back 1 inch. And I think we're over to you again, aren't we?
Yes. Right.
It's heating up now.
Okay. It is. I don't like the amount of damage that's on those zombies. Okay, let's have a look at what we can do. Oh, hello. Those trolls are in these skeleton archers front arc, just.
Yes, just about.
I believe.
Let's see. Yep. It looks like it to me.
So it's any point of it within the front arc, within twice their speed of 5.
Of course,
So I'm going to do multi-charge.
That will be flank as well, won't it? So that's not good.
Yes. The skeleton archers are in the flank, so they're going into the flank. So they're going into there, and the skeleton's going into the front. Now, these zombies, what shall I do? Let's go straight at these guys here. I just don't need to bother dark surging them. I'm in your front. You're in my front arc. You're within 10 inches, twice the speed of the centre. So those zombies are just going to charge straight into your sharp sticks there.
Yeah,
This,
if it comes down to a war of attrition, I'm quite confident with all the damage I've already put on your units here.
yeah, I'm not. That's the problem. My necromancer is going to run forwards 5 inches.
Hmm. Yeah, he just wants
So
to get out
that,
of sight of those flea bags, doesn't he?
yes, he's now out of their front arc, so they are not able to charge him, which works for me. So shooting, that necromancer is going to cast heal on zombie swarm. So he rolls 3 dice, hitting on 4s. 2 points of damage healed back.
Could be crucial in the end.
It could be. Right, combats. Let's start on the left. So I've got skeleton archers in the flank. They have 10 attacks, but because they're in the flank, that's doubled to 20. But they only have a melee value of 6+, so they hit on 6s. So
Right.
4 hits.
And then the troll's defense being 5+,
Yep.
so maybe not
So
too much
5s.
damage.
Ooh, 3. That's quite nice.
Good. And see if the other skeletons can do anything before I put a number down on them.
Yep. So these skeletons got 10 attacks, hitting on 5s.
Ooh, quite good.
So 5 hits and wounding on 5s.
Another 2, so
Another
that's
2.
5 on them.
Yep.
Right then. Don't like the look of this one bit.
11, 13.
I'll just check. It is 11, 13, yeah.
Okay. So. Ooh. I rolled 11 plus your 5 is 16. Just bigger than your rounding of 13.
Yeah, I don't have anyone to inspire them nearby, so.
Nope.
Crunch.
Pop.
There we go. That could have turned the tide a little bit.
I think it might. What shall I do? What shall I do? What shall I do? The normal skeletons are going to advance d6 inches. 3 inches. Now it is just straightforward, so I cannot pivot when I do so. Those archers are just going to stay there, but because the 2 units are touching at the moment, they have to back off an inch. So there's an inch gap between the 2 units.
It's just courtesy, isn't it, really?
It is, yeah. It's just so you can see which units are in combat and which ones aren't. So, zombies. They've got 30 attacks, and they're hitting on 5s. So that's one.
It's quite a few.
That's 9 hits altogether.
And the sharp stick defense is 4+.
4s. Oh, that was nice. 7. 7 points of damage.
Right, now the sharp sticks, their nerve is 12/14.
Yep. So 2d6 on the nerve test. 10, 7.
Ooh.
What? The nerve rolls in this game.
Down they go.
Down they go.
This is where it would come in handy to have something inspiring them when you get a roll that's quite good like that.
Yeah.
So, I'm not quite as confident as I was a couple of minutes ago.
Your luck turns very quickly in this game. So never count yourself out of the game, because your luck can turn very, very quickly. That is the end of my turn. The zombies are not going to do anything. They're just going to stand there.
Right.
Instead of advancing.
So, first things first, I think I'm going to move these guys.
Really? Why?
I think they may be under threat from zombies in the flank if they stay there. Just a hunch I've got.
Nah,
So
you'll be fine.
If I want to move them and pivot, does that mean I can't go at the double? Or can they because they have the nimble rule?
Yes, these guys have the nimble special rule, which lets them do an extra pivot when they're moving or at the double,
So I'll just
not when they're
this.
charging.
I'll do 5 first, then I'll rotate them, then I'll move another 5 to there. So that's them moved.
That's still a normal move because they've got speed 10, so they can do another pivot if they wanted.
Right. There we go then. Threatening your old little necromancer there and possibly the zombies. So
Yes.
I think it's time to do some shooting, try and finish off these units that have taken so much damage already. So your skeletons are in the front of my spitters here, so I'm going to shoot at them again. I'm not sure if I've shot at them yet. I think I've only shot at the zombies. I'm shooting at the skeletons this time. So only 2 hits.
2 hits. Defensive 4+.
1.
So 1 wound. 11. That
Might
could
be enough. Yeah.
Only 16.
Here we go. Oh, do I wait until the end of the phase to do that?
Yes, you have to do all your shooting first and then do your nerve test.
The whiz on the flea bag is going to zap the zombies up there. So only 1 hit.
Wounding on 2, so it does.
Yes.
10.
Let's see if I can make those skeletons disappear now.
So you'll have the skeletons first.
Yes.
Okay, their nerve is 16.
That will be enough, but they're still in inspiring range, aren't they?
Yes, they're still within 6 inches of the standard bearer. So re-roll that, please.
Is that enough to waver them?
That's not enough. They don't waver.
Ooh. Is that a special undead thing?
So they only have the 1 nerve value of 16, which means that they don't have a waver value. That's just their route value. But generally speaking, shambling units, which the units that can't move out the double, they generally don't waver anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense. Especially undead.
Yep.
So I did some damage to the zombies as well. So let's see if I can finish them off.
The nerve is 22, so you need 12 to work.
It's worth a go.
Worth a go?
Nah.
Nah.
I would have had to get it on a re-roll as well, so
yes,
very, very slim chance.
Inspiring range as well.
Okay, and it's back to you again then.
Thank you very much.
Looking a bit thin on the ground now.
Let's see what I can do, shall we?
Hope that Necromancer is going to continue exposing his rear to the Fleabag Riders. That would be very nice of him.
Well, the thing is with individuals, they don't have any facings, so you don't get flanks or rears on them. But equally, they don't get flank and rear bonuses against you either.
I'll be happy as long as he stays there. He can turn to face me if he wants.
But the interesting thing is that if you charge a unit, it can't shoot in the following turn. So if you charged my Necromancer, he wouldn't be able to Dark Surge or heal or anything like that. Okay, those skeletons are out of charge range, so they're just going to shuffle forwards. So 4 inches to there.
Hopefully he should give me another go at finishing them off.
And 1 inch to there. Move that damage with them. These skeletons are going to move forwards and pivot. Like so. Standard bearer is going to stay where he is, I think. Necromancer is going to run away again. He's going to run to there.
He doesn't want a piece of those Fleabag Riders at all, does he?
He does not. He's not very good in combat. My zombies are going to move to there, and then they're going to move directly forwards 5 inches. They're doing a normal move of up to 5 inches, and at any point they can do their single pivot of up to 90 degrees. So they're moving to there. They should be angled a bit more like that, actually. Right. Shooting. We're going to have the Skeleton Archer Troop shooting at your spitters.
Yep.
They get 10 attacks, and they're hitting on 5s.
That's quite
So that's
good.
4. And you've got a defense of 3 plus, I believe.
The Spitters... Defense 3, yep.
Yep. Oh, sorry, not 4. That's 5 hits, isn't it? 5 hits, wounding on 3s. So 3.
And they have a nerve of 12, 14.
I'm not done shooting yet. Because the Necromancer is going to cast Dark Surge.
Ah, yes, that does count as shooting, doesn't it?
He's going to cast that on the zombies. So he's got Dark Surge 8. For every 4 plus, they move forward 1 inch. So that's 3 inches.
Is it enough?
It is.
Oh dear. Just.
Crunch. Just. Crunch. There's no getting away from the undead.
There certainly isn't.
They're surprisingly fast. So, that is the end of my shooting. So now I'll do the nerve tests. So those spitters, their nerve is 12, 14, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. So I need 12 to waver or 14 to break. So I roll. Total of 4 plus 3 is 7. That's not enough.
Excellent.
But now for the combat phase.
Yeah, I don't like the look of this one bit.
The zombies have 30 attacks. And they're hitting on 5s. So
That is a lot of 5s.
That is, isn't it?
Fleabag Riders only have a defense of 4 plus, so I'm not too optimistic here.
Got 11 hits. 4 plus, you say, didn't you?
Yep.
Ooh. 8 damage.
Their nerve is only 9, 11.
9, 11.
So they're pretty much toast unless you roll a double one.
No, which I didn't. I rolled an 8.
Off they go.
So they are gone. The zombies are going to pivot on the spot. Yeah, the interesting thing is that when a unit goes, it just goes. It flees the battlefield immediately. You don't start messing about with it running back towards your own table edge. If it's destroyed, it's gone.
Oh dear, oh dear.
That's over to you.
Yes, so I'm just going to spin them around a bit. Now, can I shoot at individual characters running around on their own?
You can, but you get a -1 to hit.
Okay.
Not with Zap, though. Zap always hits on 4s.
Oh, well, I think I'll zap him then. So, I'm just going to edge him up there a little bit. And I'm going to shoot now. So I'm going to zap him first. Standard bearer.
Standard bearer, okay.
So 1 hit. And what is his defense?
Oh, I should check that. I should know it, but I'm going to check it. 4 plus.
So 1 point of damage on him.
Yep.
I assume characters have a fairly good nerve on their own.
Yeah, he's got a nerve of 12.
It's good for a single model, isn't it?
Yes.
So, the Spitters are then going to shoot at the Skeletons. Their one final chance to take them out, I think, before I get eaten. So, 5 hits. Good start.
Defense of 4.
So 3 damage.
They're on 14, so anything but a double 1 will rout them.
Will I need a reroll as well, though?
But because you're attacking, you can choose the order to roll your nerve checks in. So you can choose to nerve check against the standard bearer first, and if you take him out, then they don't get a reroll.
Yeah,
So
so I'm better off doing... I think it's very close.
It's very close. I think it's just in.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
So I'll do him first then, because
Yep.
it seems to make sense. 8 plus 1.
8
So,
plus 1 is 9. Doesn't beat his 12.
so now for the skeletons.
That's
6.
popped, and re-roll that, please. And still destroyed.
Yes, it's about time.
Skeletons, gone.
So the mopping up process, once things have taken damage, it doesn't take long at all.
Absolutely. It looks like I was really far ahead, but suddenly lose a unit, and it's looking very different now.
Yeah, so it's your go again.
Okay. Now I would like to move these zombies at double, but I can't because they're shambling. So they're just going to waddle forward 5 inches. Necromancer will just buzz around to there. In my shooting phase, I'm going to Dark Surge the zombies directly forwards.
Oh dear.
Ooh! That's 6 hits. They're going forward 6 inches. Very speedy zombies.
One thing people might have noticed about this game is that you don't roll dice in your opponent's turn.
Correct, yes. It's all done in your turn. What that means is that in, say, tournaments or even in casual play, you often see chess clocks because you're counting down your own time. And not only does it help to keep players' time down, but it also means that you're also fighting against the clock. Because if you run out of time, it's an instant loss.
Yeah, and the only way your opponent could really slow you down is if you forget one of their stats and they're looking down the page saying, "Ooh, let me just see. Oh no, that's not the unit. Let me just turn this page here."
Well, someone could do that, but
I think people would be onto that pretty sharpish though. And then once you learn the stat the first time, you probably know it.
Yeah.
First time.
Yeah, that tactic could only work against someone who doesn't know the stats.
Right.
I also have my skeleton archers, who are going to shoot at your spitters. An attack 10 on 5s. So that's 3 hits. You've got a defense of 3+. So 1 wound.
Yep, so that puts them up to 4. I'm in the middle of painting a spitter unit at the moment. Well, I've just primed them anyway, so I'm about to start painting them. In orange, people won't be surprised to hear.
Orange. So, nerve testing them. I've got no more shooting left to do. So, 2d6. So I rolled a 4, plus the 4 that's on there is an 8. That's not enough to beat their nerve of 12 or 14.
No, it's not.
They're fine.
So I've got one more chance to get out the way of those zombies or kill them or something.
Yes, because the game lasts for 6 turns. It's your last turn.
Right then. So I just want to see whether I can escape from the front arc of the zombies, which may not help me anyway because of Dark Surge. So
It's funny how that works.
I think I'm going to go for a bit of an all or nothing strategy here. I think all I can really do is try and kill the zombies. Because anything else, I could try and get out the way, but it wouldn't help. So I think all I can really do is try and get rid of them. So let's go for the spitters first. 10 of them. 4 hits.
Running on 3s.
2 damage.
So they're on 12. You need a 10 to pop them.
And then the Wiz is going to try and zap them as well.
Oh, yes.
To try and push them a little bit closer to Oblivion.
Yep.
He gets a hit.
It's 1 hit. Running on 2s.
And a wound. It's up to 13, so it's a little more likely now.
Yep.
So what's their nerve again?
22.
Here we go. 7 plus 13, so
That's
20.
enough.
Not quite.
Not quite.
Right then, do your worst.
Do me worst. The absolute worst or just the worst?
let's just stick with the worst.
The worst, okay. They're within charge range of your spitters, so they're going to go into them. Necromancer's just going to shuffle up, because why not? I can take a pop at your whiz.
Don't hear that every day.
Nope, you don't. Just for sort of good gameplay, I would move my standard bearer up to keep the inspiring range, but it's last turn anyway, so it's not going to make a difference. So for shooting, the Necromancer has Zap 3, so he's going to shoot at your whiz. So he's hitting on 4s. So 2 hits. I believe your whiz is defense 4 or 3.
Let me see here. Whiz, defense 4.
Defense 4, okay. He's got piercing 1 on the zap, so it wounds on 3, so 1 wound.
Okay, so his nerve is 9, 11.
9, 11, never forget that one. So, nerve check on him. Rolled 7 plus the 1 is 8. That's not enough to do anything, so he's fine.
Right, so it all comes down to this big crunch here.
To the zombies. So 30 attacks, hitting on 5s. Six hits altogether. And you've got a defense of 3.
Yep.
So,
ooh. That's quite a bit. Right then. See if you can finish them off.
5 plus the 9 is 14, so that's their waiver limit. Not their waiver, their route limit. But the whiz is inspiring.
Ah. So you will then have to re-roll.
Yes.
And even better, so whatever he tried to do to inspire them just had completely the opposite effect.
Oh yeah. I said, screw this, you can have the zombies.
Right then, so not a lot left on the table, really.
No.
Once things start dying, it can just keep spiraling out of control like that.
Absolutely. You can think you're doing well one turn, then the enemy gets a couple of lucky nerve checks, and suddenly your army vanishes, and it's panic stations.
Yeah, we saw the benefit of having a large unit of zombies, because they were the only ones that weren't immediately vulnerable to a lucky roll at the start of the game, really.
Absolutely, yeah.
But then on the other hand, that's more of a large portion of the army that could potentially just go away in one go.
Absolutely.
So yeah, there is a balance to be had.
Yeah, it's good to have a mix of different units.
I think we pretty much managed to demonstrate most of what you'd expect to see in the game, other than a couple of things like cannons, catapults, things like that. They're not overly complicated, though.
No, they're not. They work in a very similar manner to how the regular shooting's done. So they just have a single attack, and if it hits, then it multiplies up. So if a cannon, for example, currently has blast 2d6. So if it hits, you roll 2d6, and that's how many hits it actually does. So it's very simple, very easy to do. There's no templates, there's no scattering or anything like that. It's just either hits or it doesn't.
If we weren't stopping to explain things during that game, I think probably would have got it done in about 25 minutes.
Not even that.
Yeah, it was
well,
very,
if you're playing
quick.
online, it's slower to play online. If you play it in person, we'd have played this in 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, so anyone who's looking for
Very
just
quick,
a quick game. And there is something to be said for games that take all day, the experience of it, but that's not for everybody, and it's not something you want to do all the time.
No.
So
if you want a King's War game that lasts all day, that you put 3 or 4 tables together and put your entire collections on the board.
Right, we did have a few viewers join the game, and there's a comment from Mr. Torpedo's Bow. I'm not sure exactly how he's supposed to pronounce that, but he declared his presence as a viewer. So, hello. And I think,
Hello.
was there anything else that we didn't cover?
I don't know. I think we covered most of the core rules.
There isn't really too much in the way of further complication after the core rules, is there?
No, I mean, yeah, there's special rules here and there, but they're nothing that's particularly complicated.
The special rules tend to be just it adds +1 to this. It's
Plus
not.
one to this and plus to that.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
This rule contradicts everything else you already know. You do get that in some games.
There's very little rule stack, and there's very little special rules which influence other special rules, which is one of the things where this such and such special rule counteracts this special rule. There's none of that. It's very simple, very easy to learn. But you saw how deadly flank charges can be, and how manoeuvring is the absolute key to this game. If you can pull off a flank charge, then you will win.
Yeah, the zombie flank charge into the mincer that started the downward spiral for me, I think.
Yes.
Also, a couple of my units just immediately exploding on first impact. Although then you could say, well, if I'd taken larger units, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So there's definitely that.
It's all
And
about planning ahead.
if any of you guys out there watching felt that anything was unclear during this demonstration, then just drop any comments in, and then either I'll answer them myself, possibly incorrectly, or I'll pass them on to those more qualified.
Or I'll jump on you and say, no, you got that wrong. It's done this way. But honestly, the core rules come to something like 20 pages altogether. Very easy to digest.
Certainly
get
is.
confused over.
Yeah, because people have been asking me to do something on my channel regarding the rules since they saw that I've been putting up videos of my recent conversions for my Goblin army, which is just about to begin the painting quest, if you will.
Yep,
it's going to be
painting in bright orange colours.
It's going to be delicious and emotional at the same time. So with that, I think we can pretty much depart safely.
Cool, thank you very much for inviting me on.
Yes, thanks for joining me and showing the world the joys of Kings of War. The highs and the lows were experienced to full effect, I think. So, good night, everybody.
Good night, thank you very much.